I just gotta play this here. Listen, I really wish folk understand what the role and the job of journalists are supposed to be. So they were discussing this whole thing on the Breakfast Club, okay? And the right wing, understand, the right wing has been spreading this clip around left and right. Daily Caller put this out there as well. So here's DJ Envy talking about what Jeffrey Goldberg did. And I'm like, Envy, really, bro? Come on.
If you did get those texts, right, and you know those texts weren't supposed to be to you, why would you put it out there? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, you are a journalist, but this is your country, and you know releasing some of that stuff can probably or might affect some of the things that happen. Why would you put that out there? Like,
I think I'm going to sit on that? You know how big of a story that is? That's why you put it out there.
Yeah, but this is your country, and if it could affect military, it could affect people that's out there working.
Nobody cares about that because you have bylines, you want to get the clicks, you want to sensationalize, and in 2025, nobody cares about that.
Don't care about people, huh? They care more about likes and TikTok numbers?
Not even .com numbers, Google Trends. Like, I'm just being real. Like, that's why you put it out there. But also, too, I think, depending on where that journalist sits politically, like, it's kind of like exposing how careless, or I think that's what they were trying to do, exposing how careless an administration could be, which is also dangerous. So maybe that's their way of saying, yo, if I care about my people, like, y'all need to know, y'all president and his administration are accidentally sending something this serious.
Okay, so that was Envy and Lauren having a conversation. Both of them have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Okay, that was just a ridiculous conversation. Okay, I've been in journalism since I was 14 years old. And the reality is, there's a long history. First of all, the First Amendment is the first for a reason, okay? I've been a journalist a long time. Again, went to communications high school, all right? Just, look, I wore, just understand, I wore this today. This is my one. Okay, Jack Yates High School, Mag School of Communications. What they called me in high school? Mr. TV. Been doing this since I was 14 years old. Okay, so this conversation was a joke. This isn't about Lauren. It's not about clicks. It's not about that. It's actually about the role of a journalist. It's what journalists do. They broke the law. There are things that we report on in journalism. These things actually happen. You know what? There's a thing that's called, people maybe remember, the My Lai massacre. Go to my computer, okay? This was broken by two journalists, okay? Seymour Hersh is one of those journalists, okay? Very well known, Pulitzer Prize winning, where they broke the story about what happened during Vietnam, what American troops were doing. Okay, do y'all understand? This is Richard Seymour Hersh and Ronald Rittenhour. They actually broke that story, all right? Many of us know about the other story. It's been documentaries, it's been movies, the movie The Post centered around it, the Pentagon Papers. Daniel Ellsberg got a hold of the voluminous history of the Vietnam War. Come on, go to my iPad. All right, this is from the National Archives, okay? It literally breaks it down. But Daniel Ellsberg, he was working with the Rand Corporation. He was so shocked by what he saw in Vietnam, but also the lies that were being told by the American people. And so he then passed on the Pentagon Papers to the New York Times. And the New York Times, the Nixon administration went after them and then tried to get them to stop it. They got an injunction. And what then happened was the Washington Post then began to report on it as well. Okay, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the New York Times and the Washington Post. This is what journalists do every single day. Folks, I have a copy of this book, which is an amazing book by Ethan Michael McKaylee. It's called The Defender, How the Legendary Black Newspaper Changed America. Okay, this is what this book looks like. If you read this book, you know what you will discover? During World War II, the United States actually threatened to sue and to imprison black newspapers because the black newspapers were writing about racism that black troops troops had faced in the United States military. They wanted to charge them with treason, saying that their reporting was not in the interest of the United States. They wanted the black papers to only be writing about the war. And they said, wait a minute, y'all, there was a campaign called the Double V campaign, victory at home and victory abroad. That's what black papers were doing. To Lauren and Envy, what about clicks? It was about the black papers writing about the racism that African Americans were facing in the United States military. We can go on and on and on with countless television stories, radio stories, newspaper and magazine about how journalists have been writing about the actions of media, writing about stuff that has been leaked. I remember when I was in Fort Worth, been a city hall reporter for the Star Telegram, when I was being leaked information about the lousy housing department there. This is what journalists do every day. And so in that clip, when Envy was talking about, well, you're an American, yes, but it has nothing to do with the issue. Do understand, Nixon wanted to put Katharine Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post, through the ringer, the New York Times as well. I just told you they wanted to actually try black newspaper publishers for treason. So what are we talking about here? If you're going to be on radio, if you're going to be on urban radio, my God, have some facts to back it up. Please, by all means. But when you put these things out to the public doesn't know about these things. I dare say the young audience of the Breakfast Club, they don't know. I'm not assuming, but more than likely, they ain't got no clue about the My Lai massacre. They got no clue about the Pentagon Papers. They got no clue about the many instances where journalists have actually done this reporting. It has nothing to do with being an American. It has nothing to do with being a Texan or being a Houstonian. When you are a reporter, you may have to report some things that government officials don't like. I've had countless run-ins with mayors and city council members and state legislators, members of Congress. My job is not to serve them. Has nothing to do with the flag and, oh my God, this might hurt the military. No, it's called the public interest. The public interest. And so when I saw that clip, I was like, I sent Envy a text. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? I need black targeted media. Because the Breakfast Club is not black owned. iHeart Radio owns the Breakfast Club. But I need, if we're going to be having conversations, I need us giving factual conversations to black people. And the role of journalist, it's not about waving the flag. Why was Phil Donahue's show on MSNBC canceled during the Iraq War? Because no, we got to be waving the flag. We now know, because of some journalists with Knight Ridder who were doing the work, and they exposed what was happening in this country. They exposed the truth about the war in Iraq. They exposed the truth about weapons of mass destructions. They exposed that. So what do we say? They should have been doing their job? When the numerous journalists were reporting, what happened when journalists got pimped? Judith Miller, New York Times, who ran these stories of an Iraqi national describing a program of weapons of mass destruction that never existed. All of that stuff could not be corroborated. This is why you need a strong fourth estate. This is why you need journalists. There's a difference between somebody talking on the radio and somebody reporting the news. There's a difference between somebody who's out there gathering the facts than somebody expounding on what they read. And so I just need our people to understand. I need our people to understand that what Jeffrey Goldberg did here, Jeffrey Goldberg did nothing wrong. Jeffrey Goldberg is an editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. He was added to a signal group Do y'all understand that, again, what they were doing was against the law? They were brazenly and openly having conversations in a single chat group about the attacks in Yemen. Let me repeat again. Pull the graphic up. I need to show y'all who was on there. National Security Advisor, Waltz. Vice President, J.D. Vance. Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary. Susan Wiles, Chief of Staff. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. You got Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence. The Director of National Intelligence, meaning all of the intelligence agencies reporting to her. Ratcliffe, head of the CIA. Stephen Miller, top aide to Trump. The lead negotiator, Witkoff, who was in Moscow at the time when he was in the group. That, Envy, is why Goldberg reported the story. Because the American people should know that the entire apparatus of the United States Foreign Service Group, if you will, were having a conversation where somebody allowed a journalist, somebody without security clearance, into a conversation to listen to actual troop movements and actions taken by the United States military. You damn right, Jeffrey Goldberg should have reported this. This is what our job is. Simple as that. Final comment from our panel on this. Randy, you first.
Journalists are the people who provide the truth for us. They allow us to make the decisions. I mean, they are so vital to America. I mean, everything you said, it was just was spot on. I don't think that Goldberg, he's not an influencer. I don't think he's worried about clicks and likes, but he is worried about being true to his profession. And that really makes him a true American.
He did not believe what he was seeing, and he was very, very reserved about it. Ultimately, he didn't post the operational details, so everything that Envy seems to be worried about, he did not post on. He did not reveal those things, even though he was privy to them. And the other part is, at the end of the day, this is news, something being done that's against national security interests and possibly breaking the law. That is the definition, the quintessential definition of news. But it's not news that these guys are incompetent, that the intelligence community, people that are leading it, is not necessarily so intelligent. And so the idea that this is one of the reasons and one of the ways in which they're not so intelligent and don't have it together is absolutely news. But the cat's already out of the bag. And Envy, that is not this particular person's fault.
Mustafa.
The role of journalism is to place a spotlight on the truth, even when truth is inconvenient, dangerous, or denied.
Indeed, indeed. And folks, this, go to my iPad, this, Knight Ridder, how a small team of U.S. journalists got it right on Iraq. 20 years after the U.S. invasion of Iraq, the reporting team at Knight Ridder shares how they debunked the Bush administration's relentless march to war. Y'all, their reporting took place in real time. If people had listened to these reporters at Knight Ridder, we would not have entered that war, and you would not have had thousands of people die unnecessarily because the war was not about WMDs. It was about oil. Simple as that.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.